All right, guys, welcome once again to another live trading section. As always, we start by reviewing all we did the previous day, and we look into new setup for today. Once again, if you have questions during the sections, you want to send it directly into the charts, and I'll be able to go through that and answer you as we keep moving forward. Okay, someone already said, please, those with $100, can they participate? What is the best leverage? We're all going to see that during the course of today's section. So first, let's review what did we do yesterday for those who have been following us. First, we created a trade on ANKR. So if you joined us yesterday, you probably took a trade on ANKR. We're going to see how well that's performed. So let's go right back into our setup. So we have ANKRO over here, and we created a short for a profit target of 100 whooping percentage. So we could see that our ANKRO from our short level has already done the percentage. And if you have that trade, it's already closed by now. If I go on my Tafabot over here, so I go on my profits. And this is my own ANKR trade over here. So that's already closed some couple of hours ago. So for that, we took 100% profit of our capital. Then we also created a long position on clay. Let's also see how that's performed. We created a long on clay as at this point, and clay moved into our first target over here at 4.6%. You can see that over here. And if you also took the trade, you've also closed at a 25% profit target. So that's 125% done already yesterday. Then we also created a trade on Matic. Let's see how that is doing. So we have a long on Matic. Our Matic long is still there if I go on my Binance app. Now, the beauty of all of this is that as we're checking the market, we're creating setup. I'm also taking those setup on my account. And every day we're reviewing the progress and our results. So I still have my Matic setup over here that's still open. The market is just static. It's not moving. It's just there. And I'm also going to check, show us what we're going to do with that Matic position. It's going to be one of the markets we're going to be looking at today. Next, we did a trade on FET. That was a final trade yesterday. Let's see how that is doing. So we have the FET trade over here on a 10% profit target, and that is already happening. So if you have a FET position open, is there, is at 10%. Earlier, hours ago, it was about 25, 30%. The price dropped a little, but our profit target still stands. So that is there. Now, the beauty of creating the Tafabots Martingale is you're pretty much excited for the full target. When we create our Martingale zone trading, my best hope is always for all the zone to play out because it gives me more capital into the market than having the first, second, or third zone in the market. So I'm more excited when the market is having a pullback from my zone, so I have more entries. So for today, we're going to look at BTC market. We're also going to look at ANKRO again. We're going to look at Matic once more, and we're also going to look at FET once more. So first, let's kickstart with a BTC setup. Where is the market going is the first thing we try to do to understand what next is the market trying to play. And like I explained yesterday, is that we had money moving back into stable coins, means people are taking profit of the the BTC market, taking profit of the altcoin market. And we saw all of that through the chart yesterday, that the altcoin money flow was hitting a large cap, and we were expecting the decline already, which started about 3 days ago. Now, I said we're still expecting more decline. We're not done with the decline, but it's a short decline, unlike what we had before. For those who shorted, we shorted a lot of coins since Monday. So we're expecting a little bit more decline, but that decline is not enough to open up a short position on. That's why we took profit on all of our short, and our goal right now is to start accumulating position in the long direction. So we can see that over here in the BTC money flow, we see money is already moving into BTC. That's why it's pretty static. You're also seeing that altcoin is not shaking yet, but once money gets into BTC, some part of it is going to flow into altcoin. So right now we're still looking for long positions in the long term. So first we want to jump right into BTC setup. Like we always say that our trading pattern for Martingale is called trading in the zone. We identify different market zone, we create our configuration to cover up those zones. So for BTC, we have an upward movement of BTC in its first zone around a 5.5% movement, keeping BTC at $25,000. And then we have another zone of BTC running at 11% upward movement, keeping BTC at $26,000. Now, if you're following the long and short ratio in futures market of exchange like Binance or globally, you're going to find that a lot of positions are over this particular point in BTC. So traders have created a large position on this point that when BTC gets to this point, there's going to be a large level of liquidity for the markets to deal with. So that's why we have the second zone of BTC forming at this point. And at the same point, if BTC decides to draw back downward, we also have a zone around here where BTC hits 21,490. And if you also look through the longer short money flow, you're going to find a lot of position hanging around this very, very point. Now, what I do expect is that BTC tries to attempt either one of those sides. Either BTC decides to move forward to clear up the position that are hanging here, or move downward to clear up the position that are hanging here. But generally, we're expecting an upward movement once either way decides to go through. So we want to look for a long in BTC to start accumulating our position so that we can join the upward movement that is going to be happening soon. Keeping in mind, there's still short movement that is going to happen, and our goal is to accumulate. So first, in BTC drop down, we have a zone here around 3.8%, pretty small, keeping BTC at 22,900. We have another zone over here at 21,500. And we have another zone in the shorts at 20,000. And BTC has 4 short zones right now and 3 long zones. That's pretty interesting. We have another short zone at $18,800. But all of this zone over here is going to take a real large market deciding to capsize. So that for us is not in view right now. So we want to follow what is the third drawdown that BTC has the capacity to do, and we're finding that here at 14.7%. That keeps BTC at $20,400. All right. Now, our goal for BTC in this trade is going to be different from what we've had the previous days if you've been following. So number one is we want to track the BTC movement 10%, and also we're trying to get long, but there's something that's going to be different in our setup for today. If you followed previous setup, is that BTC is pretty much super ranging market. So you could find BTC if you move to check what is BTC average price movement. So if we check the average price movement of BTC at every point, you're going to find 0.8, 1%. In maximum, you're going to find 1.9. So is pretty short movement happens with BTC, which makes our setup for BTC at this point is going to be a little bit different from what we do with altcoins. So let's jump right into creating a BTC setup. First thing to note is we want to track a 10% price movement generally, and an average price movement of BTC for 1%. The average of BTC is running between 0.6 to about 1.9. Now, 1.9 is at an extreme, so that's really, of course, you're always going to be finding below 1%. So we're going to go for a 1% average price movement on BTC. Now, to the question that someone asks is, how do we use $100? Now, this is one trade that you can use literally any capital for. You can use $100 for it. So let's say you're going for $100. So I'm going to put $100 into the calculator, and it gives me my setup. So this is my setup if I have $100. Once again, I'm going to post the calculator into the group chat for everyone to see if you're joining for the first time. And also after the meeting, we also try to post the videos and also the calculators again. So if you're trading to $100, you want to go to the calculator, impute that amount, price movement for BTC 10%, average 1, and you get your setup. So I'm going to be creating my setup just like every other user. And for BTC, I want to do a $5,000 size and 10, 1. For this, I'm going to be doing a 10S, so I'm expecting a $50,000 position size on BTC to be open. Now, you're wondering, why do we go for 10S? We've really never done 10S in the previous trade we do. We're always going maximum 5S, 3S, and we still make like 100% profit, 50% profit. But for BTC, the volatility ratio is very low. We're seeing 1% volatility ratio. So we cannot expect the same result like we get with altcoin, which is why our configuration is going to be pretty different, which you're going to see. So this is my setup right now, and I'm going to jump right into my Tafabot app and start creating the setup. So you want to do the same thing. You want to jump right in your app, get your own setup from the calculator, and start creating the setup. So back over here, I'm going to go to, I have a BTC created before. So I'm going to edit BTC setup, maximum capital. I want to do a $5,000 capital, giving me a $50,000 position on a 10S, sorry. So I'm going to go for long. My first entry over here is 90.9. Once again, you want to use the exact data given to you by the calculator. You don't want to alter it even with 1 cent. It's going to nullify your whole setup. And number of entries around 10, and I'm going for a leverage 10. Go for the configuration. So I have first entry at 1%, pretty interesting, 2%, 3%, that's amazing. And just like that, 4 and 5 and 6 and 7. And we have 8 over here. We have 9 and we have 10. And we pretty much have the same stuff with our ratio. So pretty have the same data. We're gonna go for that. All right. Okay, I have 2 here, I have 1 here. All right, so I have all my entry configuration set up. Now, this is the part that's going to be different. For BTC, due to how low the volatility and price movement is, we also want to aim for a 1% price movement. Now, we're going to go for a 1% take profit movement, and strategy preference is also relaxed, very low volatility. Now, this is the interesting part. If you've been following our previous trade, we always have our strategy period as 1 because these are long-term trade. We just want to take one-time big profit, 100% profit of our capital, and we're done. And I explained yesterday when someone asked, why don't we take little profits? And I said that is not ideal because you'll be spending more in fees and doing a lot of transactions that are unnecessary. So we do one trade and we take all the profit from that trade. But for BTC, it's going to be different because of the volatility ratio. So for BTC, we're looking at having this trade run up to 50 times. So what this means is we're going to take 1% profit every time BTC move up to 50 times, keeping us at a 50% BTC movement. Now, why are we doing that? BTC cannot move 50% right now. It's not in the zone, it's not in the structure. But there's a way we can get 50% movement because it is too static, which means every time BTC goes 1% upward, we're going to sell, restart our trade, and all of that is done automatically. So you don't have to come back to restart it. So every time a trade takes profit, it reduces this number to 49, means we have 49 more. A new profit is taken, we have 48 more, and so on. So this is going to be our setup for BTC. So I'm going to save and jump right into starting up my BTC bot, BTC setup, start up. All right, so that should be running on my exchange. We're going to check that later on. Let's move over next to another setup. Make sure you've covered up the whole BTC setup already. We're going to move to creating the next setup. And we have that for ANK arrows. Someone said, what is re-entry position ratio? So if you watch what I did, they are pretty much 0.1 because BTC, it's so low. And the goal is we want to get back into the trade immediately once we take profit. So if we have our first, second, or third entry gets into the market, we take a profit, want to get what first entry back into the market so we can repeat the cycle a lot of time. So it's at 0.1. All right. So let's move over. So at this point, when BTC hits our first zone at 5.5%, we would already have taken about 5 trades or more. And someone asked again, is BTC long? Yes, BTC is long. Like I explained, we're expecting a bullish movement. There's going to be a short-term short movement, but it is too minute. You don't want to short it. So we're expecting a bullish movement. So we're looking for long positions. All right. So let's move over to ANKR. So if you followed, we did an ANKR short yesterday. We took 100% profit out from it from those that did a 10S. I did a 5S, so I took a 50% profit from it. So over here, what we're looking at is taking an ANKR short at this point that we've already accomplished our first target as of yesterday's zone. So right now we're looking for new longs into ANKR. Okay, someone said, can you show the BTC setup? I miss your take profit percentage. It is 1. The take profit is 1. But also don't worry, after this section, we are also going to send the setup in the Telegram group. But if you catch it right now, you're going to be taking it at the exact price that the market is, unlike when you take it later, but they're still going to be same setup. And for every day, we review the setup. For BTC, we're entering into the weekend. So we have today's Friday, we have Saturday, Sunday, up to Monday. I'm expecting that this trade runs up till Monday. So we're not planning to stop the BTC trade. It's going to keep running. That's why our setup is we have a large 50 times period and we have a 1% take profit. Okay, so back to ANKRO. First, we want to look for a short, and we have our first ANKRO zone at 17%, second one at 43%, and the third one at 77%. Super crazy. This tells you that we're expecting a really, really super bullish movement. But on the drawdown, we have very low drawdown. First drawdown of ANKRO is running at about 13%. And second drawdown is happening at about 28%. And third drawdown is happening at about 50% movements. So we want to take a long and we want to try to cover up the best move we can get from ANKRO. So for this, we want to take the second movement. This also is a short-term trade like the other ones we've taken. We're hoping to take all the profits from one trade. That's what I mean by short-term trade. So we want to do a 28% price movement or in ANKRO, and our average movement, like we checked yesterday, is still the same for ANKRO. We still have 3.1. So I'm going to go over to my calculator. And for ANKRO, I want to use the same $5,000 capital. This is not the capital I have. I have more capital. So don't try to use, if you have $5,000, you're not trying to use $5,000 capital for 4 trades. That will be wrong. Because the Martingale calculator is created in such a way that if you say you want to use $5,000, he gives you a setup that covers up $5,000. So if he tries to execute and you don't have $5,000, you've invalidated your setup. So if your capital is low and you cannot spread it among several trades, you want to stick to one trade, take the BTC trade, you're still going to make profit than to put yourself in a large risk. So I have a large capital, so I'm able to go several capital into all of this trade. So the next price movement, we're looking at 28%, and average is at 3.1. So when I calculate, this is going to be my setup. Now, something to note for people with low capital, as low as $100, you cannot take all price movements. And this is very important. You want to have a super secure trade. That's what we try to do. We make all the profit, yet doing super secure trade. So there are trades you cannot cover up with $100. The BTC trade record, you can do that with $100, even as low as below $100 will still work for it. But for trades like ANKRO, the recommended capital is going to be minimum of $200. So it gives you a wider range because we're trying to cover a 28% price move. So you're going to require about $200 to do that. Okay, so this is my setup, and I'm going to jump right in. We're also looking at a long year and create my setup for this. We do have a setup for ANKRO from previous days. Okay, I have ANKRO over here. Perfect. This was a previous short, so I'm going to switch it to long. And my first entry at this point is 35.8. Okay, we have BTC and all of these guys already running. Just going to refresh Binance. All right. Back to calculator. Over here, 35.8. 35.8. And for ANKRO also, we want to stick with very short leverage. Number of entries 9. We want to stick very short leverage. I always go for 9. It's an altcoin, it's volatile, it's unlike BTC. I go for 5S leverage. And my setup set this 3.1. And next I have 6.2. So you kind of see that the setup changes every time. This was the setup for our short that we took 100% profit. You can see they are slightly different with the setup for the long. Here I have 12.4. Here I have 15.5. And here I have 18.6. And here I have 21.7. And here I have 24.8. And here I have 27.9. Someone said, can I join this trade? Sir, I have a $120 capital. Let's check that. Recommended is going to be 200, but let's see. We're going to put that into the calculator. Let me feed this in and save it so I don't miss that. Okay, 21.7. One thing you want to note is no trade is lesser or greater than the other. You're still going to make as much profit from the BTC trade as any other person would do from the other trade. The only reason why you want to take multiple trade is just to spread your capital among different markets. So if one is stagnant, the other guy is moving. This is 0.2, I have 3.1. Okay, save. All right, so let's check this out. You have, yeah, we have 28%, 3.1, 28, 3.1, and you have $120, and we calculate. Okay, so your first entry is 0.9. Now, if you're trading on Binance, Binance requires a minimum of about, I think, $10 to $15. It varies different per different market, but it's always about $10 to $15 minimum position size to enter a trade on Binance. Now, if you have 0.9 as your first entry, even if you go a 10S, you will only have $9. And you don't want to put too much risk into such kind of market, except you want to be going for a 20S, then you'll be able to take the same trade if you're doing a 20S, but that keeps you at a larger risk. Now, things to note is the Martingale calculator is structured in a way that it gives you the best entry. So even if ANKRO goes 28% direction, you will only be 3.1% away. That is super amazing. You will only be 3.1% away. Now, if you did a 10S and you're 3.1% away, automatically you are 31% away. If you did a 20S, then you are 61% away, not away from the market, but in the amount of profit or loss that you currently have based on your capital. Now, if the market moves 3%, you would also be making that much profit, but your loss is also amplified, which makes it riskier to create a stop loss. Because when all your entries are done, what level of stop loss do you want to create? You're going to create a stop loss that possibly has taken 80% of your capital, and that would not be good. So generally, you can take every trade, but that is you putting a large risk on your capital. No one restricts you to do that. You have the freedom to do that, but I would recommend you don't. Okay, let me see again. Oh yeah, I made a mistake on the last entry. You always want to cross-check this. One tiny change can alter the setup. Okay, so what is our take profit for ANKRO? The first target is 15%. We like to go for an average, so we're going to go for a 10% take profit. So this is one of those trades where we try to take all the possible profits. So 10% take profit is going to give me a 50% on a 5S. My strategy is still relaxed due to the amount of capital I'm using and the leverage. So this is why if you're going for that much leverage, you cannot do relax. And if you want to create a stop loss, it's very difficult because that will be a high risk stop loss. And strategy period is 1. This trade will just execute one time. Save. I want to go right back and kickstart ANKRO. Start. Perfect. I have one log. Okay, the log from Euronet. Okay, cancel. That's fine. All right. Someone said, how many trades can I take with $100? Just like I explained, the risk level, that's why you don't take so many trades with it. If you want to take on those risks, you're free to do that. But if you have $100, I would advise open the BTC trade. You'll make a lot of money from it. And it will be the same than putting $100 on 5 trades. Okay, so there's no need to make 100% profit today and by next week you lose the 200% you made. It doesn't make any rational sense. It is better that you're making a little amount of profit every day and it is growing. By next month, your capital is now $200. The other month, it has now become $400 and you just keep growing it. Then you want to make a 100% profit this week because you want to use $100 on 5 trades, which is possible, right? And the next week, it kills your capital, not good. And someone also asks, can I use this setup on spot? Yes, every setup we're calling for today are both futures and spot trading. They are both futures and spot trading, okay? Someone said, can I set up Martingale setup for spot trading again? Yes, this same setup, everything is the same. Put it on your spot Martingale. Everything is still the same. Perfect. Someone said, can you take it slowly, sir? I'm a slow learner. All right, perfect. Okay. So we have BTC setup, we have ANKRO. We're going to move to the next setup. If you don't catch the whole of it, you're going to have the video also after this call. Re-entry condition is 0.1. It wouldn't matter, but you just have to fill in the data there. But it wouldn't matter because there's no re-entry. So this ANKRO trade is only running once, so there will not be a re-entry. But you have to put a figure there. All right. So let's move forward to Matic. Matic trade. So in Matic, just like we saw Previous day, also we've traded Matic. We had a short on Matic. Today, we're also looking for a long in Matic. And in the zone of Matic, we have the first price movement at 5.3. We have the second at 10%. I'm going to shrink this down. Yeah. And then we have the third at 24% price movement in Matic, up to and high, pulling Matic to $1.7. Now, in the drawdown, we have first drawdown of Matic running at 7%. So the drawdown of Matic is pretty higher than the upward push, upward movement. So this is one trade you want to have lesser risks on. It has a larger drawdown than an upward movement. You want to have lesser risks on Matic trade. So we created already a Matic trade yesterday, and I still have it open over here. This is it. I have $700 position size in. My goal for Matic is a $20,000 position size. So I still leave it there for more entries to happen. Okay, so back to this. If you're trading Matic, what you're targeting when you go to the calculator, you want to target the price movement of 30% is pretty high. This is why your risk level should be very, very low. And your movement, average movement is around 3.3%. So if we click on calculate, I need to put in my capital. I use the same also. And it gives me 9 entry into Matic. So I already have Matic running. I don't need to reset up. If you did yesterday, there's nothing else you need to do. For those who don't have Matic already, here's your setup. You want to create that into the long and accumulate a lot of position. Now, ideally, like I said, you should require $300 to be able to cover up this amount of movement in a less risky way. And finally, we want to look at FET. FET is our next guy. And I think we still have FET open also here. We still have FET open also here. And the setup is still valid up so now. So if you want to take up FET, we've done the analysis yesterday. First movement is around 16%, pretty good. Second is 24%. So FET is one of the guys you can put more money in because it has a higher upward move than the drawdown. The maximum drawdown is running here at 39%, almost same as the upward movement. But every other one, FET has a greater possibility of a push-up than a drawdown. So for FET also, we try to cover up the largest possible movement, which is around 39.8%. So if we go to the calculator and you put in 39.8% and you put in the average movement for FET, we checked that yesterday already, is 4%. Okay, and you click on calculate and you have your setup over here. Now, for FET, I would recommend you use $500 to cover up this amount of movement. Don't forget, my recommendations are just to cover up your risk. If you want to take higher risks, you can do anything, but this is my recommendation. The goal is that you're making profits every day, not that you made 100% today and lost it tomorrow. We want to ensure consistent profit. And that's what we've been doing since we started this. On Monday, we did about 50%. On Tuesday, about 25%. Wednesday, about 75%. And yesterday, we did 125%. And just like that. So that's the goal. Keep making up those money. So this is the setup. You want to put all of this in and you're good to go. All right. So I'm going to take a few questions for those who are new. You can send it right into the chat. I'm going to take about 5 questions and we go straight in. If you've not created your setup, you're going to find this video after this call. You want to create all your setup. And by Monday, we're going to be reviewing how all of our trade performed. So you have some questions, you want to drop it into the chat sections right now. Okay, someone said BTC trade is not starting up after turning on the bot. Okay, we're going to check on that. That should start up immediately. We've always done that. We're going to see to that if there's any trouble on that. All right. If you have any questions, you want to send that right into the chart. Let's be sure you fully understand all we did. You understand all the setup that we created, so you can start racking up your profits. Please confirm the strategy period for ANK Arrow. Every other coin we talked about, the strategy period is 1. Only BTC has a 50 strategy period. BTC, we're taking short-term trade, short-term profits in a lot of movements. But for other coins, we're taking one-time profits, one big profit. So if you have this kind of setup and we're aiming for a 10% profit, you're taking a 10% of your whole capital, and that is pretty awesome. What was the price movement for BTC? Please, sir, can one set up trade after this class? Yes, you can set up trade after this class. This is the thing, right? All of the setup we're sending, the reason why they are daily is that after 24 hours, they become invalid. So after 24 hours, except the market is still in the same price zone, means they are still valid. If it is no longer in the price zone, that's why we come back to review it and say, okay, can you still take this trade or not? So every trade we reviewed right now, you can take it all throughout today, because these are trades that are going to flow into the market. I'm really not expecting any big price movements during the week. So we might even see the movement on Monday. So you might even find that the market is pretty static from today up until Monday. So the only profit that we might even take will be on BTC trade, because that's the trade we're targeting a 1% movement per time. So that's why that's one trade you don't want to miss to set up. You want to set up that BTC trade. That's where we're going to be taking profit more during the weekend. BTC price movement, we tracked price movement 10%, average price move 1%. Rex preference for ANK Arrow, what is the risk? For all of the trade, we did a relaxed risk, and I explained why, based number 1 on the leverage, on the capital type. And I said the reason why we have recommended capital is so that you don't over leverage your capital. So if you are using the same setup I did, then you want to be on relax at this point. If not, you want to do more with your capital, then you should have a stop loss. But then that stop loss will be totally for you to decide based on how much you're willing to take as a stop loss based on the risks you're putting into the market. I'm going to explain how the stop loss works once more. Let's take, for instance, that you did this last trade and the price moved to 39.8%. In the Martingale structure that you have received, you will only be 4% away from the market price. What does this mean? If you're on a 1S, means you're on spot, the market will only be against you with 1%. That is mind-blowing, never been heard of before. So this is super unique, that the market moved 40%, but you are 4% away. Super unique. That's why this is very, very important. Now, if you're now leveraging, this 4% on a 10S will now become 40%. On a 5S will become 20%. So that's becomes different based on your capital. So that risk part, if you don't do, you're not following the same setup as me, then you want to decide, okay, if the market goes 39% against me and I am 4% away, means if my if my leverage is 10S, means I'm 40% down in my capital. At this point, what stop loss should I have? So that is left for you to decide. Is FET long or short? All the trades we did today are 100% long. What leverage for ANK Arrow? I did a 5S leverage based on my capital. You don't want to go more than 5S. And if you're using the recommended capital, then that is also good for you. Please strategy and take profit for BTC. We're also going to post this. Watch it for the Telegram group, everyone. We're going to post this into the Telegram group. All of this setup right after this call. Take profit for BTC is 1%. Take profit ratio is 1%. Perfect. All right, guys. I have one more person raising up the hand. You just want to send that into the chat. Solomon, you want to send that into the chat. Recommended capital for BTC, I said any capital would go. That's why BTC is very unique. Any capital would go for that. So $100, that's fine. Any capital would go for that. ANKRO, we had a 10% take profit for that. Someone said, people without huge capital, how can we use the calculator? I already explained that. In BTC, go over there, put $100, 10% movement, 1% for BTC. You have your setup that is going to work for you. And you already have it there. So that's how you use the calculator. Are we longing BTC? Franklin, yes, we're longing BTC. What is about the strategy? I already called the strategy, but if you didn't catch that during the call, it's going to be on the Telegram group in the next couple minutes. You want to watch out for the Telegram group. Tafabot official Telegram channel is going to be up there, including this video. All right, take profit for ANKRO is 10%, not 1%. Only BTC is 1%. Okay, guys, we've had a super amazing time. Let's go make some profits during the weekend, and on Monday, we review this trade. If anything comes up during the weekend, we could also make a video and send into the Telegram group to ensure that you're up to date with how the market is moving, if there's any big change during the week. If not, we're going to review all the trade on Monday. Okay, thank you, guys. Let's go make some money. Cheers.